if you are looking for someone who believes that, you know, pre-loved luxury item has like some other sentiments attached to it, this is me. Like that used to be me, you know, until I started buying it, until I got to the point where I just got it anyways. And how did I get there? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about all you need to know when it comes to buying pre-loved luxury items. I am going to be sharing my experience with you and everything that I've also learned, you know, in my course of research before I eventually started buying. Initially, when I started buying luxury items generally, I had this strong feeling in my mind that I would never buy luxury pre-loved items. I mean, I just personally, you know, feel somehow not about buying pre-loved, like maybe pre-loved means that you are cheap or you can't afford the new one. No, my opinion was, you know, I'm buying pre-loved and I'm kind of like honing a part of someone that I totally do not know. You know, just the idea of the fact that these pieces have actually been used by someone else before getting to me is like the major reason why at the back of my mind I felt I would never ever buy pre-loved luxury items, you know. So but I didn't voice it out because I was at a point in my life where I realized that, you know, you never say never because you never know, right? However, again, it's just something that I know deep down, that I knew deep down in my heart that I would never buy pre-loved luxury items. That's how I felt, you know. And what I would normally do is when I'm in any conversation and people are talking about buying pre-loved items or buying pre-loved luxury items in particular, I would usually just express how skeptical I am, as opposed to saying I would never buy pre-loved luxury item. You get my point? So when the time comes, I wouldn't, you know, see people that would tell me, oh, but you said you were never gonna. You get my point? You know how, you know, we humans can be. People would remind you. Trust me. Like, watch what you voice out. Watch what you say. Sometimes even when you have opinion, I've realized that it's best to keep it to yourself, because there are some people that are just looking out for when they'll tell you, but you said this, didn't you say this? Didn't you get my point, you know? So yeah, if you are looking for someone who believes that, you know, pre-loved luxury item has like some other sentiments attached to it, this is me. Like that used to be me, you know, until I started buying it, until I got to the point where I just got it anyways. And how did I get there? I got to realize that not all luxury items in the pre-loved market are used. Some of them are extremely new. Some of them were just one time, you know, which is actually sometimes compared to like you going into the store and trying on a bag that so many other people have tried on, and then you eventually buy that particular piece because it's the last one on the shelf. You get my point? So there are actually some bags in the pre-loved item that falls into that category as well. So it's not necessary that all bags or all luxury items in the pre-loved market have been like used and personalized, you know, before getting to you. You know, that was the first thing I realized that kind of like started to help me to walk my way through till I eventually got it. Another thing that I also got to realize is, see, there are some, okay, when it comes to luxury, when it comes to fashion brands, when it comes to luxury fashion brands, know something and know something from me today. Leather is leather. I get it, there are different categories of leather, yes, but I can bet it with you, if Michael Kors use a particular leather to create a bag or a belt or any item, if Louis Vuitton use the same leather to create a bag or a belt or any item, Louis Vuitton is able to price theirs 50 times more than Michael Kors would price theirs. Using the same leather, using the same material, creating the bags the same way, the same style, the same everything, Louis Vuitton is able to price their home more, which means that what we buy when it comes to buying luxury items is the brand name and less of the actual pieces that we're buying itself. Don't get me wrong, there are some pieces that this, you know, luxury brands put their hearts and their blood and flesh to create. There are some of them, but I'm talking about like the regular bags that we buy these days, like the regular styles of bags, like the tote bags, the hobo style bags, the top handle bags, the shoulder bags that we buy these days. Sometimes the material they use are the same, the craftsmanship is the same, but what we buy is the name. So when I started to realize that, that was also one of the things that helped me to walk my way through to being able to buy pre-loved luxury items. And how is that? So for example, if Louis Vuitton comes out with a bag and I think it's overpriced, if I check the Preloved market and I see it in a good deal, in a good condition, hey, honey, I would save my coins and I'll buy Preloved. Yeah. So that I had to, you know, again, I wasn't that way initially. When I came to the realization of these 3 facts, then I did not hesitate to start looking. Then I started to look. And when it comes to Preloved market, I do have like a couple of handbags that I recommend that you should buy Preloved. This video is going to be in 2 parts. This is part 1, where I get to tell you all you need to know about buying Preloved luxury items. Part 2 is going to be me telling you the items that I recommend you buy Preloved versus new. And I'll also get to show you the items that I've bought Preloved before. So watch out for part 2. In a nutshell, that's the story behind how I got started with buying Preloved luxury items. Now, when it comes to buying Preloved items, people would say, Buki, what website do you recommend, or what particular store do you recommend when it comes to buying Preloved items? The answer is there is none. I do not recommend any particular website, and my reason is because there is no actual standard when it comes to how they price these Preloved items. There is no standard. They are the ones that actually factor in their own factors, you know, to determine the prices for those items. So there is no way that you are going to be able to get like a fair deal every time from a particular website. So my recommendation is look at the top 3 Preloved markets and compare the prices at every point in time before you make your purchase. The top 3 in my mind right now, like the top 3 that I compare every point in time before I make my purchase, number 1 is Fashionphile. Fashionphile will always be number 1 for so many reasons, which I'm gonna get into later. There is Fashionphile, there is RealReal, and I also know about Tradesy. Those are the 3 places that I do like my price comparison before I make my purchase. I have never purchased from Tradesy before, and I have never purchased from RealReal before. I have only purchased from Fashionphile before, and I have my reasons. The reason why Fashionphile is number 1 is because number 1, Fashionphile is 100% transparent when it comes to any luxury item on their website. When I say extremely transparent, they are transparent to the core. Like they would show you pictures of every corner, every angle of each piece. They will also put in the description what actually is on each piece, pretty much. If it has scratches, if it has a weird smell, if it has stains, if it has, and they will tell you exactly where this things are. So that way you are able to look very well and closely before you make your purchase. So, but when it comes to pricing, I'm not going to say Fashionphile is like the best when it comes to pricing, because again, there is no standard that guides how much they are able to price like Preloved luxury items. They factor in whatever they can factor in, and that's how they price their items. So it doesn't really matter. Number 2, on a website like RealReal, I know RealReal does not necessarily hold all the Preloved items they are selling. On RealReal, there are some items you buy from RealReal that comes from different sellers, you know, so that way different sellers are able to price their item depending on how desperately they want to sell it off, you know. So yeah, that's the reason why it's okay to, you know, shop around and make sure that you are getting a good deal, you know. But I personally, if I see something on RealReal in the same condition at $100 less, I would definitely still stick with Fashionphile anyways, because again, Fashionphile carries all the items they sell, number 1. Number 2, Fashionphile is 100% transparent with the condition of the items they are selling. And number 3, on Fashionphile, you are able to see like the exact price the item actually priced for. For example, if there is an item that is maybe like 2,700 in the actual 2,700 new, and they are selling at 2,900, just because it's the it item, or maybe because it's like scarce or rare, they will still be transparent about how much it is new and how much they'll show you at the bottom how much they are selling it to you at the condition they are selling it to you for. So yeah, the transparency of Fashionphile is one of the reasons why, you know, I personally just find comfort buying from them. And another thing is you are able to return back to them within 30 days for your money back. So Having all that guarantee is one of the things that I actually just find my own rest when it comes to buying pre-loved items from Fashion File. But do I shop around? Yes, I do, but I have never bought from other websites before. What I recommend is, I never know what's going to happen in future. Depending on the items you are looking for, I would always advise that you make sure you're getting a good deal, making sure that you find comfort in what you're buying before you buy them. That's like extremely important. So yeah, when it comes to where I recommend, those are the 3 places that I recommend you look at, but I don't specifically recommend that you buy from any particular one of them, because it's totally up to you at the end of the day. You might find yourself a very good deal on Real. I would say go for it. Speaking of good deal, another thing you should take note of when it comes to buying pre-loved items is nothing should be like too good to be real. When it comes to buying pre-loved items, you have to be very, very careful. Like for example, if there is a bag new that is like around 2,700 again, and you see it pre-loved in excellent condition and it's going for like 900, think very well. Like think very, very well. That's like, again, too good to be real, and you should just make sure that you re-authenticate when you get. I'm not saying don't buy. If you're able to avoid it totally, I would say avoid it totally. But if you eventually just like no, I mean, this thing looks good, they said it's already authenticated, no, I've already seen what is wrong with it, it's in excellent condition, if you still feel convinced to buy it, I'd advise you authenticate it again to make sure. I have never had to re-authenticate any of my bags, but I do know that there are some websites out there that you can use to re-authenticate your bag. I'll put like, you know, couple of names. I know about 2 of them. I don't know their names at the top of my head, because again, I've never used, you know, any authentication service before, but I know people use it. I know there is a process. I don't know about the process either. So I would say, you know, do your research, make sure you know the one that works best for you. Go ahead and re-authenticate those items if you find them in a too good to be real deal. You know, and this one also applies to if you're buying hand to hand. There are some times where there are some people on Instagram that they're like, oh, I want to sell this, I want to sell that. You know, you don't know the reason why they're trying to sell out whatever it is they are selling, so you have to be careful. So when you get it, before you get it, you have to let them know that you will need a guarantee that you can return it back to them if you see and believe it's not authentic, and you know, let them give you the guarantee that yes, okay, you are able to do that before you buy from them, because you never know, they might also be selling because they think it's not authentic. So you have to be very, very careful when it comes to buying from, you know, Facebook groups, or buying from hand to hand, or buying from even any of these 3 websites that I mentioned earlier. You have to also still be careful when you're buying from there. Like when a deal is too good to be real, you want to make sure you double check to make sure that you are getting an authentic piece. So yeah, that's also one thing I would like for you to know. So now let's talk about the actual experience when it comes to buying pre-loved items. Again, I'm using Fashion File as an example because I have only bought from Fashion File. I believe the same thing applies to these 3 other websites that I mentioned, so you can apply the same process to these other 3 websites. I have never bought anything in good condition before. I have only bought items in excellent and very good condition, I believe. You should always pay attention to the condition. If you go on Fashion File and you type in, for example, Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis, you are gonna get like a lot of results, like a lot of Pochette Métises on that website, but they are gonna have different prices based on the condition. So pay attention to the condition when you're buying. I personally filter how, like I don't want to see any item in the good condition. Very good, but usually I start with new, giftable, and excellent. If I see that those prices are like too close to the price of new, then I would release my filter to also include the very good ones, just so that I can, because sometimes the definition of very good is sometimes close to excellent. You get my point. Sometimes it might just be like a scratch or something you can deal with. It might be a scratch that is on the handle at the bottom, somewhere that is hidden. It might be like a stain in the interior. That might be the reason why some of these items would rank very good anyways. So there are some things about the very good ones that you can still deal with that makes them very good, that is not so bad to you. So if I see that the prices of the ones in excellent, giftable, and new are like super too close to the price of new, I will then release my filter to exclude those ones and only show me the ones that are very good, you know. So I usually never go below very good when I'm buying from Preloved market, because again, I'm trying to make these things that I'm buying as less used as possible, and also be able to like save money. So that's usually one thing that I pay attention to. Number two, when you have finally found this item that you want to buy, make sure you click on the particular product, make sure you zoom in and out on all the pictures that have been posted, and make sure you read every detail at the bottom. Again, remember when I said Fashion File is like 100% detailed when it comes to they are 100% transparent when it comes to the condition of each piece on their website. So you should also leverage this information so you don't make a mistake of buying something and at the end of the day you go through the hassle of returning back to them, you know, and all that good stuff. Like, it's super not necessary, you know. So make sure you read every details. That's one thing I do. I make sure I read every detail of everything that I've been listed on under the page. I make sure I do that. Also, another thing which I also mentioned earlier, make sure you check prices for the same piece at the point when you have made up your mind and you're like, okay, yeah, I believe this bag or this belt or this sunglasses or this small leather good, I believe this is actually what I want. Make sure you check that same thing in that same condition across other websites that you know of. My top recommended ones are the ones that I've listed for you at the beginning. Make sure you go back to other sites to compare the price, because sometimes you are even also still able to save more on the average price for, you know, the Preloved piece you are trying to pick. So try to do that as well. That's something that I do. If you don't see at all, or if you see something that is just like maybe $50 less, or to me my cap is $100, if I see something $100 less, I'll still stick with Fashion File. But if I see something more than $100 less, honey, no, I'm definitely gonna get out of Fashion File and consider the other places that I'm looking at. You know, that's for me now. So get your cap, know your cap, you know, depending on your level of depending on, I mean, I want to use the word depending on how strong you are. You know, personally, if I see something that is like just less than $100, you know, in terms of difference in price, I'll definitely stick with, you know, Fashion File still, because again, the comfort, the guarantee, I'm looking for the best word now, the assurance, yes, good, the assurance that I get from buying from Fashion File cannot be bought with $100, you know. So I would not compromise. Another thing that I make sure of is I make sure that I am saving for real. You know, what's my cap? My cap between the price of new and the price of Preloved should be at least 500 USD. If it is less than 500, then I'll be very, very skeptical, depending on the condition. If I see something on Fashion File that is new and I'm saving 400, 300, then yeah, it makes sense. But if I see something in a very good condition in Fashion File and the difference in price is less than 500 compared to the price of new, I would not do that. I would definitely be going for the new one. So again, always have your cap when it comes to price, you know, so that you can use that to help yourself when you are making this luxury purchase, depending on the items you are getting. Sometimes what you are buying is even less than 500 anyways. So if the price of new compared to the price of Preloved is like, you know, $50 or $80, just know how much in terms of percentage you are willing to, you know, get to when it comes to making your decision. So I'll always analyze that. It's important, so that at the end of the day you are not just shooting yourself in the leg, because again, there is nothing compared to buying new. When you're buying new, you're getting that experience of buying new, and you're also getting like 100% assurance that this is new, this is from YSL, this is a YSL bag, I got it from YSL. You're getting your own personalized treatment when it comes to buying new. So there is nothing compared to that anyways. So that's the reason why I've said that, you know, before you begin to think about buying items Preloved, I would say that you should heavily consider buying it new first, and make sure that you just are extremely convinced, like, oh no, it makes no sense. Then begin to look into the Preloved market. That's just what I was going to say. Make sure that you are making sense, because again, I would not buy a bag that is in a very good condition at $300 less than new. Then I'll be doing myself a lot of dissatisfaction if I go ahead and, you know, buy it Preloved. Keep that in mind when you are making your purchase. Another thing that I want to re-emphasize on is the authentication part. Like, This is extremely important. I'm talking about if you are someone that is buying from like a Facebook group, Poshmark, or what's it called, or eBay. People buy from eBay as well. Like this, I heard that eBay has kind of like upped their game when it comes to pre-loved items. Now they authenticate these pieces for you. Then when it comes to you, you can go ahead to re-authenticate or not. But I personally, if I'm buying from eBay, buying from Poshmark, or buying from Facebook group, I personally would not mind spending that extra bucks to get my pieces re-authenticated for me by a third party, so that I would know that I'm be assured that I'm getting a real piece in my hand, and I wouldn't be going around, you know, flaunting a fake piece. You know, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, that's the worst feeling ever. Like, you having a bag, you know, I've seen people that would tell me, oh, I got this from my colleague. Like, my colleague at work sold it to me, and I'm looking at the bag like, no, this is not it. But of course, my opinion in such situation should be kept to myself, so I would just say, oh, okay, nice, cool, oh, it's so cute, yeah, it's nice. But then I think it's not my job. Like, you are not paying me to help you authenticate your bag anyways. Like, why would I tell you your bag is not real, you know? So I think you should do yourself that service by re-authenticating your bags or re-authenticating your luxury items to make sure they are actually real by yourself. It shouldn't be from me. So if I think it's not real, then hey, I'll keep that opinion to myself. I've seen situations where people will buy things from like known pre-loved market, and yet when they get those pieces, they still come out not real. Why? Because these people are human too. Like, sometimes they get overwhelmed, sometimes they get a lot of stuff. Even fashion file, yeah, like I've seen a couple of videos of how huge and large, you know, fashion file warehouses are, and I'm like, whoa, you know, and they have a lot of staff. So maybe one of the staff isn't having a good day and they miss what they should not miss, and they just would go ahead and say, oh yeah, it's an authentic bag, and when it's not. So people make mistakes as well. So if you are buying your luxury item from any website at all, you know, just make sure, especially if you're someone that is unable to tell, make sure you go ahead and re-authenticate. Yeah, re-authenticate. I've never re-authenticated any bag before. I don't know what the process is like. I believe what you would do, like for example, if you buy something from Fashion File and you get it re-authenticated and they tell you that, oh, it's not real, there is a way for you to submit that report from these companies to Fashion File to show them that they have actually gone through the right measures and they have found that your pieces are not real. So that way they can allow you to return back to them based on that reason. Right. Another thing that I also like to mention when it comes to buying pre-loved is when you see a particular item you love and you are ready to buy, I would say go ahead and buy, because pre-loved market usually don't have two of the same items. Like, they definitely don't have two of the same items in the same condition, with the same situation, in the same issue and all that. So keep that in mind as well. So when you're buying pre-loved, when you see something you like and you're ready to buy, I recommend you move fast, because if you refresh, sometimes it's gone, you know, especially the ones that are like, you know, extremely good deal. I don't want to use the word too good to be real. On Fashion File, you necessarily don't find things that are too good to be real. If you are looking at an item that is too good to be real compared to the price of new, I'd advise you make sure you're looking at the condition very well. Then something is probably off when it comes to the condition. So just make sure that you are paying attention to the condition. It's extremely important. My final recommendation when it comes to buying pre-loved is act fast. Things go away really fast, and there is no guarantee on when they are going to come back. They don't restock on the same pieces. If they have a bag today, like if you are someone who collects like rare pieces, if you find a rare piece today and tomorrow you think you're going to find the same thing, sorry, maybe not, you know. So keep that in mind as well. So yeah, when you see anything pre-loved, I recommend you act fast. Yeah, so these are all the things that I want to inform you about when it comes to buying pre-loved, and everything you need to know when it comes to buying pre-loved. It's actually not rocket science. It's just a matter of realizing that you want to buy pre-loved, you know, looking closely at where you can get a good deal, and looking closely at the information about the item that is coming to you, and also making sure you re-authenticate where necessary. That is important. Then the final part will be that you should act fast when you know and you're sure that you're gonna buy a particular piece. They definitely might have 2 bags in the same condition, in the same price point, but it is rare that it's the same thing. You get my point? Like, you get my point. It's a pre-loved market where people sell to. So yeah, I just wanted to, you know, share this with you guys in case you're someone out there that is thinking about beginning to buy pre-loved luxury items. Is it worth it? I would say yes. You're able to save your money. You're able to save a lot of money buying pre-loved, especially on particular items. You know, again, I'm going to be making a part 2 to this video where I tell you the pieces that I recommend you buy pre-loved, and also would tell you the pieces that I've bought pre-loved and the pieces that I'm also looking to buy pre-loved. Yeah, I'll be making that video next. So this one I've just wanted to make to tell you all that you need to know when it comes to buying pre-loved. Thank you so much for watching. I make videos like this one. I make videos about luxury items, about fashion and beauty sometimes. And if any of this content is something you like, do not hesitate to hit the subscribe button below to join us. You are going to have a lot of fun here. And overall, guys, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. All right, so this has brought me to the end of this video. If you have any particular questions or comment whatsoever about buying pre-loved, about your experience buying pre-loved and all that good stuff, feel free to leave them for me in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to engage with you and we can have a conversation and learn from one another. Thank you so much, guys. Before we see again, I hope you remain blessed and I wish you peace.